Hello, everyone. My name is Dawn Evans, and I am the Access Text Network Coordinator. Welcome to this week's webinar, exploring the accessibility initiatives of 5 major publishers. First, some quick housekeeping items. Live captioning is available by clicking on the CC icon at the bottom of the Zoom screen. You can also enlarge the captioning box by clicking on the upward arrow in its top right corner. This will be a 1-hour session, and each publisher will have time for questions immediately after their presentation. If at any point you have trouble seeing the bottom of the screen, simply adjust your view options in the top center of the Zoom window. To ask questions or make comments, please use the Q&A pane. You'll find the Q&A icon at the bottom of your Zoom window, and feel free to submit your questions at any time. We have set up an EPUB resources page at bit.ly, that's bit.ly/EPUB-ATN. The QR code to the right will also take you to the site. As soon as we have the webinar recording, we post it on this page along with the PowerPoint decks. Finally, the next webinar will take place in 1 week from today on May 28th at 2 p.m. and we'll be hearing from RedShelf about how accessible ebooks on the RedShelf platform can benefit students and disability service providers. Today, you're going to hear from 5 publishers: Cengage, McGraw Hill, Wiley, Macmillan, and Pearson, as they discuss the initiatives that they've undertaken to create more accessible products. You will learn about where to find accessible ebooks, what publishers are doing to make them more accessible, and how to get answers. And how to get answers to your accessibility questions when you or your students have an accessibility request. So our panelists are Deb Castiglione of Cengage, Lisa Nix of McGraw Hill, Svea Siegman of Wiley, Rachel Comerford of Macmillan, and Jonathan Thurston of Pearson. Thank you all so much for being here today. Let's begin with the presentation about Cengage's accessibility initiatives, followed up with your questions for Cengage. I'll hand it over to Deb. And Deb, would you start out by introducing yourself?
Sure. I'm Deb Castiglione. I am the Director of Universal Design and Accessible Technologies at Cengage, and I am housed within the Learning Center of Excellence. The Learning Center of Excellence, as we refer to as the LCOE, was established about 2 years ago. The LCOE created and has led a charge about the 4 principles of quality learning design. Those principles are personalization, intentionality, authenticity, and inclusivity, which includes universal design for learning and accessibility. The 4 principles have been adopted across the organization, and Cengage is extremely focused on learner-centered design and meeting the needs of all learners through UDL. Learning-centered design and quality learning design are driving what we do and our learning priorities. Our priorities are, have been on alt text, closed caption, and transcripts. We established a work group who identified legacy products that we inserted alt text, closed caption, and transcripts in that did not have them, and we mandated that all new products as of March 1st, 2018 contain alt text, closed caption, and transcripts. The group worked together to also establish guidelines around alternative text. We've also been focused on screen reader and keyboard navigation with respect to our platforms. We began an auditing process of our major platforms recently to clearly identify accessibility status and needs, which are going to enable us to create roadmaps. Along with that, we were able to form a partnership with Perkins, who is going to be conducting the audits and VPATs for us. We're also focused on trying to create other partnerships with additional vendors as well as with institutions. We would love to create a number more of institutional partners. We have had a lot of team growth over the course of the past 15 months. I was hired about 15 months ago as the Director of Universal Design and Accessible Technologies. Since then, we have hired an Accessibility UDL Coordinator. We have 4 individuals on our EdTech team, Educational Technologists, who are helping to support and validate accessibility needs. We are in the process of looking for an Accessibility UDL Specialist. And we also have 3 learning scientists and instructional design team who are helping to champion accessibility within the organization. We have worked on some different training opportunities within Cengage. We have developed 2 courses, Principles of Universal Design for Learning and Implementing Accessibility, that are self-paced courses and available to all individuals within Cengage. We held a developer boot camp last October where 28 developers met face-to-face with an accessibility organization who did the training. It was a 2-day boot camp, and then we had an additional 4 hours of virtual training as a follow-up at the beginning of this year. And we've also developed a number of resources in-house, one of which is an inclusive persona document that we've shared across the organization. And all of our efforts have been highly supported by management through the provision of funding to engage in all these prioritizations. As far as next steps, we are going to continue to refine our intake and remediation processes, as well as our ability to gather data that can help us with further refinements. We are in stage 2 of our prioritization process, which includes the alt text, closed caption, transcripts, screen reader, and keyboard navigation, which also is including long description. We are continuing to enhance our product and platforms to increase the quality of learning experiences and incorporating accessibility from the very beginning. And we are exploring EPUB 3. Right now we have approximately 60% of our titles that are being converted to EPUB 3. And our additional formats also remain available. Things to take away from this brief presentation is that Cengage is extremely committed to inclusivity, UDL, and accessibility. It is a high priority of the organization, and that we are very interested in partnering with vendors and institutions to meet our learners' needs.
Excellent. Thank you, Deb. That was very good. Oh, you've got one more page. I'm sorry.
That's okay. If you would like to contact us about accessibility, if you go to our webpage, cengage.com/accessibility, you can find information there about alternate format. You can request permissions for the use of alternate format documents. You can complete an accessibility intake form or request accessibility documentation. You can also contact the accessibility team directly. In addition to that information, our accessibility statement and platform VPATs are also available on that website.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Let's see. So at this time, there's not any questions in the Q&A. If anybody has some questions, you can post them now for Deb. Okay, here we go. How is EPUB 3 with math content?
Good question. To be honest with you, I am probably not the best person to answer that question because we are just beginning to explore EPUB 3 as more of a primary product that we distribute. Most of the formats that we are delivering right now are Word and PDF. So perhaps someone else might want to take that question.
Okay, we can come back to that. All right, and what options does Cengage provide us when content is not accessible via JAWS? How can disability offices access the actual content that students need?
You can fill in one of our intake forms, let us know what you need. We will work with you to determine what is the best format that the student needs and to provide you with that content.
All right, and are you planning on including audio description into your EPUB in the future?
We have actually started to include audio description into a couple of our titles, and we are planning on incorporating that in the future.
Great. All right. Okay, that is all we have for now for questions. On to the next slide. Okay, now we have Lisa Nix from McGraw Hill. And Lisa, thank you for being here. And Deb, thank you for your presentation. Lisa, would you like to introduce yourself and begin your presentation?
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. My name is Lisa Nix, and I am the Manager of Accessibility for McGraw Hill Higher Education. And in my role, I'm a liaison between the product teams that develop the content, our digital product groups that develop the tools and the platforms, and those in our marketing and our sales organization. Okay. So today I wanted to briefly talk about our accessibility cycle and how McGraw Hill thinks about things. And when we think about accessibility, we really also think about our McGraw Hill Learning Science model, because that's really applicable to our accessibility work. We aim to drive continuous improvement with use of research methods, solutions, data, and we've really embarked on a multi-phase journey. And phase one is really the research and study to build our foundation. And that was at that point where we really defined our enterprise accessibility policy and began training employees and vendors. We were conducting baseline product audits, establishing roadmaps, and we were beginning to initiate outreach with disability services departments. Phase two took us into the develop and validate research-backed solutions, developing methods to build new accessible products, creating the content accessibly, looking to remediate existing products strategically, and validating methods with user testing. Phase three, going into the build and deploy, to make accessibility really a business as usual practice, to test and iterate through deployment and communicate this to our users. And then that takes us into phase four, where we continue to evaluate and to iterate. So when we look at maximizing user value, McGraw Hill is really committed to going beyond WCAG compliance. We're doing testing at every phase to ensure that what we're building is not just compliant and we're not simply checking a box. Usability is at the top of our priority. So let's take a look at how this applies to EPUB and our ebook offerings specifically. McGraw Hill has been working on our EPUB. Even though we've had EPUB for a few years, we've really been concentrating on EPUB 3 more recently. If we look at existing features, we've added the short text alternatives or alt descriptions to non-text content. We've got long descriptions added to the complex imagery. Alternatives are being provided to audio and video content. Captions, of course, being provided for videos with audio. And descriptive track or transcripts provided for pre-recorded videos with audio. We're also looking into the presentation. Obviously, we need to be concerned with the contrast, making sure we're meeting that requirement between text and background. Presentation MathML being used for equations and formulas, making sure that's not set as image. That's currently underway as well. Then there's also language identification. Pronunciation language tag assigned to every page, and obviously this is very important when you're dealing with certain disciplines such as Spanish, French, etc. In the higher education arena. And we also are indicating when the language changes in page sections. So what is going on right now with McGraw Hill? Well, happening now is we are working with Benetech to refine our EPUB 3. So as we refine the EPUB and the tools, we're working with Benetech. They're doing review and it's coming back, with our goal in the very near future of having the Benetech certification. Next up is accessibility metadata in EPUB, and also the QA process of the EPUB as we continue down the road toward increasing the accessibility. And there's still some opportunities that we're also discussing is the image color contrast. How do we take existing images and work to make those appropriate changes? And then of course, math, the equation descriptions is something that we're looking at right now. So how do we take the EPUB conversation and move it to our ebook? Well, McGraw Hill's latest ebook iteration does utilize EPUB. So in our most current copyright titles utilizing Connect, that ebook utilizes EPUB. We also have a standalone EPUB version as well. We do offer alt descriptions, keyboard navigation, screen reader compatibility for most of the content, but we also still offer Word and PDF as an option, as an alternate for those students. Something else that we offer upon request is, we call it the IDTF internally. It's called an image data tracking form. And what we've done is we've taken, over the past couple of years, a file of all the different images found within a specific title, their location, and what the alt description would be for that image. And what this does is it allows those institutions that are perhaps using an older copyright and they have not yet moved into EPUB yet, it allows them the opportunity to get a recommendation for an alt description if they need to modify that PDF. Supporting you and your students is a top priority for McGraw Hill. We have VPATs available upon request for our key platforms, and those can be requested through your McGraw Hill representative or through our accessibility website, which I will give at the end of this presentation. But VPATs alone only give a snapshot view. They concentrate on the platform, the shell. Every title, whether it be Spanish, accounting, marketing, business, is going to utilize various tools, and also the content's going to vary. So that's going to change perhaps the accessibility of any specific Connect title. That's why we provide title rubrics. Title rubrics are documents that complement a VPAT that can give you information on the actual content specific to a copyright year. This document goes into additional detail on assessments as well, and it is available to disability service departments, online coordinators, faculty, administration. We're really here to partner with you, and approximately 15 months ago, we joined into a collaborative agreement with the National Federation for the Blind and are utilizing that partnership to enhance the accessibility of our products and also to improve the knowledge base of some of the vendors that we work with. We also have an advisory board, and on that advisory board, we have approximately 9 individuals representing various institutions and organizations throughout the United States to help us on our journey and to give us insights on things such as strategy, best practices in UDL, etc. And then most importantly is what we're doing really at a close to the vest level, where we're partnering closely with institutions. disability services, and faculty members, being proactive and allowing you to get the information that you need, whether you're in the disability services admin or faculty role. So if a student does need some assistance or an alternate solution, you have that information available up front. McGraw Hill continues down that road, and we're really excited about things that we have planned in the near future. You can reach us at any time on our email address at accessibility@mheducation.com. If you go directly to that email box, you will get approximately a 24 to 36 hour response time. And the majority of those will be handled by me directly. Thank you for your time today.
All right, thank you so much. We have a few questions for you. Let's see, the first one is a comment. Just wanted to say that I was impressed with the one EPUB I saw from McGraw Hill. The next is, are the transcripts time synced for pre-recorded audio/video?
Great question. We are actually going through our library. Some of them I believe are, and some of them we have yet to do. If you have a specific in mind, if you're looking at a specific title, or you would want to give me a couple of examples, more than happy to go ahead and dig in deeper to that. But are we 100% there yet? I do not believe so.
All right. Do you have any electronic Braille files for your books?
We do not at this time.
Okay. And I saw one in there about SimNet. There it is. What's the best way to access SimNet information that is not accessible with a screen reader, such as homework functions?
Great question. So we are in some collaborative arrangements right now on SimNet, and we have made some great improvements. The best way I would say to go into that further is send a message to me directly so I can get you documentation and put you in contact with the product.
All right, and could you restate the link for contacting that you gave us before? I think it was an email address.
Yes, accessibility@mheducation.com.
All right, and I'll also type that into the Q&A so that we'll have it for reference. Thank you for your honesty, someone says, and web address to reach McGraw Hill, we just put that in there. Any suggestions for Canadians looking for alternate format? I find myself having to contact different people depending on the title, and not just for McGraw Hill, but.
Yes, we actually have a group in Canada, an accessibility team that we work directly. We have an accessibility core team that's made up of K through 12 higher ed professional here at McGraw Hill. Canada is also represented, and they do have an accessibility website. If you would like to send me a message, I can look that up, or I can do a follow-up with that. And if they do not have the answer, they reach out to me personally. So if you go through the accessibility website for Canada, it will ensure that you won't get bounced around. Either they'll answer it or it will come to me directly.
Okay, great. And I'm getting a lot of questions for all publishers, so I'm going to try and hold those to the end and cross our fingers that we have a few minutes to get to those. All right, thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you.
Okay, next slide. Svea Sigmund of Wiley. Svea, would you introduce yourself, and thank you for meeting with us today.
Hi, I'm Svea Sigmund from Wiley. I would like to just preface this with I am not the accessibility manager. She could not make it today, but I do a great deal of work on accessibility standards for the W3C, the World Wide Web Consortium, and I was one of the authors of the EPUB 3 specification as well as EPUB 3.1, and I've done a lot of work on EPUB 3.2, which just came out last week. I work in the architecture group at Wiley, and I do a lot of work on improving Wiley's EPUBs as well as accessibility at Wiley. Let's talk about what it is that we're doing for accessibility at Wiley. First, a little overview of Wiley. Wiley develops research, education, learning, assessments, and certification to help universities, businesses, and individuals bridge between education and employment and achieve their ambitions. We work with many types of organizations to provide tools for many types of learners. We work on digital content, books, and online journals, and we've been in business for more than 200 years. So Wiley is an education publisher, but we're also a scholarly publisher, and we also work with many professionals. So I'll talk for a moment about our EPUB accessibility. Wiley shifted to EPUB 3 with robust HTML5 several years ago. I believe it was in 2014. EPUB 3 has many built-in accessibility features, such as the ability to navigate in multiple ways. What is well-structured HTML? It means that it's easy to navigate. There are meaningful semantics that are conveyed to assistive technology. And there are many other built-in features that come with EPUB 3, as long as you're building an EPUB carefully. All Wiley books have alternative text. They conform to color contrast guidelines, and they include page mapping. So if a user of an ebook is sitting next to a user of a print book, and the teacher says turn to page 23, both users will be able to turn to page 23. And alternative versions of the ebooks are available through ATN, as well as some other resources. We apply EPUB accessibility metadata to all front list titles. We started doing that about a year ago. That means that information about what sort of accessibility features are included in an ebook are available to the user, as long as the system makes that information available. It also means that our sales force has that information at their fingertips. We use Ace by Daisy, a tool for checking accessibility functionality on all of our front list titles. And we're working with Benetech on their Global Certified Accessibility Program. Let's move ahead, please. And let's talk a little bit about the broader efforts in accessibility in Wiley Education. Wiley Education has a robust learning management system, and we have numerous divisions with different types of content, including textbooks, courseware, test prep materials, and journals. The knowledge and compliance with accessibility is, of course, varied throughout Wiley, but we're all aware of the demand and increased interest in accessibility. Our education content and platforms are very focused on becoming born accessible, and there's already a great deal of work going on in this area and a great deal of accessibility testing. The Wiley content player for videos and animations has come really far in this area. I forgot to mention assessments there. So this is part of Wiley Plus, and I'll go into Wiley Plus a little bit more in a moment. All files that are located in what's called the Resources tab have accessibility features built in. This includes closed captioning, downloadable transcripts, and keyboard control. And then there are other files in what's called the Explore tab that may not be as accessible. It depends, of course, on the course. And this is very much a work in progress. Wiley Assessment Services, which is geared more toward professionals than students, have questions that include image descriptions and ARIA labels for accessibility. And we have instructor resources that have accessible PowerPoint templates that also have image descriptions. If you have specific questions about accessibility at Wiley, you can contact the email address accessibility@wiley.com. And that's for any of Wiley's tooling, not just the education part of Wiley. And let's move on to talk about Wiley Plus Next Gen. We have many users of Wiley Plus. We're excited that we'll be releasing the new version of Wiley Plus in time for the coming school year. We leverage partnerships with the VitalSource and Canvas, and the VPATs are available. There are links to those VPATs there. And the Wiley Plus Next Gen VPAT is coming soon. In Wiley Assessment Services for Wiley Plus Next Gen, you can filter the questions based on what has been made accessible. There's ongoing work for Wiley Plus Next Gen to increase the accessibility resources, including testing, increased compatibility with WCAG 2.1, and a number of other details that I could go into if you wanted to hear a great deal of technical jargon. Let's move on to the next slide. And of course, we have a lot of things on the horizon. We're developing internal accessibility training for developers with a focus on Wiley Plus and education. We'll be holding an in-person accessibility testing day, well, really testing days, on June 12th and 13th, with people with disabilities coming into the Wiley office to help us gain a better understanding of what our gaps are. Wiley will be at the National Federation for the Blind Conference in July. We'll have, Wiley will attend AHG in the fall, and I'm working with our accessibility manager to update our approach to VPATs. And of course, unmentioned here is that there is ever and always a communication between the accessibility team and the engineers and the product managers about what our best approach to accessibility is. We have a number of partners in accessibility. Of course, the Access Tech Network partners with us to create accessible books by request. We work with Bookshare to supply accessible publications. We work with Benetech on the Global Certified Accessible Program, as well as standards development. The Paciello Group worked to audit Wiley's journals platform, Wiley Online Library, and offered guidance for improving accessibility. We're working with the National Federation for the Blind to improve our accessibility testing. We do a great deal of work with the DAISY Consortium, the creators of the Digital Talking Book, the developers of ACE, the developers for EPUB Check. We work with them pretty much on a daily basis to contribute to the development and management of open source tooling. And I personally do a great deal of work with the World Wide Web Consortium, or the W3C, who's responsible for standards including WCAG and ARIA. I'm one of the authors of the Digital Publishing for ARIA specification, and I work to contribute some success criteria to WCAG 2.1. And I am also working to contribute some information to the next iteration of WCAG, which will come out in the distant future, I'll say. Moving along, I think that's all I had. So any questions?
Great, Svea, thank you. Yes, what is VPAT?
I never remember what the acronym stands for, but I'm going to say Voluntary Product Assessments. I never remember the T.
Accessibility?
Accessibility template.
Thank you.
I can never remember what it stands for. It is a, essentially it's a form for usually a third party to fill out to certify that a platform is accessible. It generally corresponds with the WCAG guidelines, and customizing it makes it a little bit easier for users to understand exactly what's going on there.
Great. And you can let me know if this question is not for you. I'm not sure. This might be more of an EPUB 3 question, but since there are transcripts/captions for the videos within these documents, if key terms are searched for within the book, is the transcript also searched through and therefore the student can use the video as resource for reviewing material?
That is more of an EPUB 3 question, but I'm pretty good at answering those too.
All right.
I do believe that that is going to depend on the system on which, in which the video is read, in which the book is read, because it's going to depend on the way that the system indexes the file. So if the transcript is created and ingested by the file as part of the publication, then it would be searched. But since search is not part of the EPUB specification, but is done by the reading system or the user agent, then that might vary from system to system. And somebody else here might have a different answer.
All right.
That is an excellent question.
Okay. Thank you, Svea. We really appreciate it. Next up, we have Rachel Comerford of Macmillan Learning. And Rachel, please introduce yourself and present away.
Right. Hello. My name is Rachel Comerford. I'm the Senior Director of Content Standards at Macmillan Learning. I'd like to start by introducing you to my team. Can I have the next slide? First, we have Kim Graff, who's the Senior Content Standards Project Manager. She works with our content and technology teams to help produce accessible products. And we have Christine Irving, who's the Accessibility Support Coordinator, who works directly with customers to help provide user-specific solutions. What that means is that anytime that you need an alternative format for a legacy product that wasn't built accessibly, including a textbook, Christine is the person who can help you get that. She also provides voluntary product accessibility templates, the VPATs, and accessibility roadmaps upon request. You can reach any of us via email at webaccessibility@macmillan.com. You can also reach us through our website at www.macmillanlearning.com/catalog/page/accessibility. Macmillan's approach to accessibility was people first. We wanted to start by introducing accessibility to our internal teams and to make sure that our teams were thinking about people when they were designing our products. That meant that we were designing personas that reflected our audience, and we were applying those personas to every product that we produced. We approached all of our content and all of our platforms as unique, knowing that no solutions were universal, and making sure that we were testing each one independently with our users. This included training and workshops focused on each of our divisions within the organizations. We worked with the designers, the engineers, the QA teams, the production teams. We tried to create a judgment-free space, like our accessibility office hours, where employees could ask questions, any questions that they wanted to. We participated in industry events. This year, we had our interactives team at Access U. This is a picture of them presenting Make Some Notes, which was their presentation about sonification in interactives for STEM students. And we built an in-house testing center so that they could actually test their own activities with popular assistive technology. And we've started working with student focus groups and an accessibility advisory board of schools from across the country to talk to us about what's working and what's not working within our own products. We've also become pretty deeply involved in industry standard organizations like the W3C. And we take industry standards like the EPUB 3 standard, and we create internal implementation guides to apply to our own texts. And this allowed us to templatize a lot of the work that we were doing, including our development of a common design language, which sort of bakes accessibility into the design of our own products. And this included, on the next slide, there we go. A cohesive system of colors, types and fonts and icons that could be used across all of our products, which made it a very consistent experience for all of our users and a consistent accessible experience for all of our users. All of this helped us to reach our global certified accessible status from Benetech for our ebooks. And this is a quote from our General Manager of Education. In this digital age, there's no reason that students with disabilities shouldn't have the same access to learning materials as their peers. Through working with Benetech, we saw our internal processes could be improved to make our materials even more accessible and made all the necessary changes. While we're very proud of being the first to have the designation, we're more proud that we now better serve all learners. So we're gonna sort of continue down this path and continue to view accessibility not as a checklist, but as a usability issue. And so we're gonna continue to do continuous testing throughout the development of our products, which means that we're not just testing at the end of the creation of the product, but testing throughout. Pictured on the screen is one of our testers actually working through an activity that we were creating for one of our STEM products. This is a bomb calorimeter. The activity that they're working on, we actually had a screen reader user go through and test the activity repeatedly throughout the development. It was brought through our office hours. It was tested by multiple users. It went through our UX team and various other resources. And it's a great example of how all of our teams came together in order to create an accessible resource, as opposed to just sort of throwing something out on the market, getting negative feedback, and then coming back and saying, whoops, we have to make this accessible. We're really committed to developing timelines for the remediation of all of our legacy products, and also making sure that we're doing ground up accessible development of all of our new products. And so we've made a pretty significant change to the development that we're doing within Macmillan. And we've seen a significant change to the people within Macmillan and how they're developing the products that they make. And that's it.
Great, thank you, Rachel. Who is involved in the testing center in-house?
Our testing center in-house is open to anybody to use. We have 6 computers that are set up. There are 3 Macs and 3 PCs. And there's a variety of AT that's available for them to use. We do have some online training sessions that are available for people to take advantage of in order to learn how to use some of the AT. And then we also offer intermittent training for the teams to learn how to use AT via our partner with Tech for All.
Perfect. And that is the only question for you right now, but don't worry, all of these questions for all publishers, I am sure you will have plenty to say. All right, next up, our last presenter is Jonathan Thurston of Pearson. And thank you, Jonathan, for being here, and please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Dawn. Yeah, I just wanted to start out by thanking ATN and Dawn for this great opportunity for all of us to talk about accessibility. I want to thank my colleagues across the publishing industry for not only sharing what they're doing, but embracing accessibility like we are at Pearson. It is just so important. But most importantly, I want to thank everyone who joined us on this call. It's because of a lot of you who have joined us today that I've been able to do what I've been able to achieve with accessibility at Pearson is because of everything that you guys have been asking us to do over the years. Your voice is really critical and important to us. And next slide, please. It's a core part of our commitment. At Pearson, we have a defining goal to help people make progress in their lives through learning. And of course, that can only be fulfilled when our educational materials are accessible for all users. We are committed to working towards becoming born accessible. For a publisher to be successful with accessibility, in fact, you have to be born accessible. There's no other possible way to do that. So what does that mean? It means looking at the whole way you create your products from the beginning to the end. It involves quality assurance. It involves setting up policies and governance, making sure there's support behind it, conducting extensive research, working with your third parties to make sure that they're aware and able and capable of providing accessible materials, that they're certified. This is all really important and what we've all been embracing together. It was also very nice to hear everyone discussing the sort of relationship between accessibility and usability. This is so important. Of course, I think most of us know you can create something that's, quote, accessible and may align with the guidelines and standards, but usability could be lacking. So it's so important not only that we deliver products that align with these standards, but that are in fact usable. And so we're in this journey together. For us at Pearson, we really consider this a partnership between us and you to help us get the best experience possible for all different types of learners. At the bottom of the slide, we have a link to our top-level disability support team. They're based in Denver. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, you can email this team. It'll instantly open a ticket. You'll get an instant response back. and we'll work on resolving whatever challenge you may have through that partnership together. Next slide, please. We have a great relationship with ATN. We also have the ability and capability to distribute files ourselves. ATN has access to a tremendous amount of our different types of materials. And of course, you can request PDFs through the normal process, and you can also request them through us as well. So one thing I wanted to share is that there's a sort of lingering misperception that Pearson will in some cases, not be delivering files when they're needed or requested. And this is absolutely not true. I want to make sure everyone is aware that we will make sure that you guys get what you need. And that's part of the partnership that we have. We do have new options based on our customer conversations about new options for accessibility available. But in the end, no one is going to get denied access to learning materials. If you have a problem, you can contact me directly. But what we're trying to do is make your all jobs easier. It's extremely difficult to accommodate for all different types of learning styles. And there's different solutions for different types of learners. So I wanted to also share some of the new types of partnerships that we've been working on and developing to not only supply content through accessible EPUB format, which is a great accessible format in itself. Accessibility is baked into it intrinsically, but other options for other types of learners that could benefit from perhaps other tools like Kurzweil, or need other types of options like Braille. So next slide, please. We have a great partnership with VitalSource. We have an accessibility store that we've been running for about 2 years. All the files in this store are verified and vetted EPUB 3 files. They've been run through third-party QA, the ACE tool, etc. They contain metadata as well. So currently, if a request is made for one of the titles that we've confirmed is accessible in this store, we do direct customers to that channel. And we will supply a complimentary comp code as needed to give access not only to the student, but also to the office as well. Anyone who needs access will get it. And for a lot of our learners and customers, this has been a really, really good solution. But that said, it doesn't necessarily currently perhaps work against all learning styles. Next slide, please. Kurzweil has become a great partner. Traditionally, a lot of y'all would be requesting perhaps PDFs from Pearson, and then go through a process to convert to the KESI format, maybe do some remediation, etc., and then bring it into the platform itself. And the partnership that we have with Kurzweil is we're trying to cut out a lot of those steps for you all to make that content instantly available in a Pearson World library that's located within the application itself, Kurzweil 3000. The ultimate goal, again, is to make it easier for you all to cut back on time and resources needed to get the students access to these types of files in Kurzweil itself. Next slide, please. So T-Base is another company we have a really strengthening partnership with as well. They're a Canadian-based company. They do a lot of different services, including Braille production and large print. They've been able to develop their own internal proprietary software that allows them to region zone files, essentially giving them the option to deliver Braille files much, much quicker, within a matter of days and weeks, as opposed to traditionally weeks and perhaps months sometimes. So our partnership involves making files available to them so they can do all this pre-processing in advance. So if someone requests that file in Braille, one of our textbooks, they already have done all that work ahead of time and then can deliver it very quickly and, from what I understand, a lot cheaper because they've done all that work in advance. Next slide, please. So again, I just wanted to bring it back to the commitment, because this is what accessibility is about for Pearson. It's a commitment to y'all. It's a commitment to a partnership, and it's a commitment to all of our learners. We're fully in the game, but we need to do this together. We've been able to grow because of feedback from you all and your learners and your students. And the more we can strengthen that, the better Pearson's products will be with accessibility, and the closer we'll get to delivering that born accessible state of affairs.
Great, thank you so much, Jonathan. All right, we have 9 minutes left, so let's see how many questions we can get to. Do the vital source texts of Pearson's have image descriptions?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's been a requirement for years that every image we distribute through our publications must be described.
Okay.
We use transcripts, audio descriptions, captions. The whole night. We're trying to align as closely as we can, increasingly every day, to full WCAG 2.0 AA and beyond with the usability.
All right, and what can be done about the MyMathLab and similar products? Traditionally, they're not accessible, and accessibility specialists have not had the answers, making it very difficult for students in disability services offices.
This is a great question, and it goes back to partnership. I encourage everyone to work with us when setting up a MyLab math course, because there's some things that we can do to help ensure that it's as accessible an experience as possible. For example, one would be to make sure we're using the most current version of that courseware. Two, we can help advise on different types of configurations for different types of AT. We can help ensure that course is properly set up using, quote, accessible questions. If a professor or instructor has their own custom questions that they need to be made accessible, we can work with them on that as well. We will work with your school to make sure that they set up the most accessible version of MyLab Math. And a good example or recent story I could share is one of our schools in California did a review or audit of MyLab Math, and they found a few areas that we could improve. And then they sent those to us, and we agreed. So we put it on our roadmap for the newest version to be released this July to have those new fixes incorporated. This is where we, one of the examples of where we value this partnership. We need and want to deliver the best possible opportunities for all of our learners, and math is a really good challenging space to be able to do that in.
Great. All right, this next question I think will give you an opportunity to offer some clarification. It says, why doesn't Pearson send PDFs when requested instead of first sending an email saying the title is available via VitalSource? This just takes extra time for us to receive a PDF for our students.
I agree. The requesting process needs to be updated and refined. This is one of my top priorities to do that. The reason why the question is being asked is we're trying to refine and develop our own processes as well. It needs to be better, this whole requesting process, and your input helps us with that. For example, this is one of the ways that we really zeroed in on the Kurzweil need. A tremendous amount of our customers and learners utilize this tool every day, and they needed a good, efficient option. So thankfully, we were able to partner with Kurzweil to be able to set up a way of working that allowed a much speedier, quicker, and more efficient delivery of those files right into the application. That also allows you to audit and remediate them and update them.
Okay, if Pearson does provide PDF publisher files, how long in advance do we need to make a request realistically before we could expect a file?
For Pearson?
Yes.
We like to be able to deliver as quickly as possible. It can depend on the file. We like to make sure we deliver. Ideally, it would be in a day or two. And if you have a challenge there, you can contact me, and I'll try to make sure that whatever's impeding that delivery gets cleared out. We do have an email address specifically for these types of questions, accessibility.textbooks@pearson.com. And these will escalate that question right to the right person to get those files released.
All right, let's jump into some of the questions for all publishers. Will textbook files still be made available to offices, disability service offices, or will you move away from this and will you require that students purchase a new book as some of the publishers require?
So I can answer for Macmillan. Our goal is to get to the point where students don't have to wait at a disability services office for a textbook that's remediated by the DSO. Ultimately, we'd like for them to be able to purchase an accessible ebook at the same time that their colleagues are purchasing their books. So our hope is that the books that we're producing are as usable for absolutely any student at any point in time. But if there is a case where a book that we're producing isn't, then absolutely we provide an alternative file to the DSO and are happy to help them with remediation or to provide a file for them to remediate.
And we have the same goal at Wiley, same book, same price, same content, but any needs will still be addressable through the DSO or through one of the other networks that we make available today.
Okay, for all publishers, will your EPUBs contain pages or have an alternative way to work with textbooks for sourcing and work in different types of technology? Or will they be locked into a proprietary app or apps? Our offices have invested in technology and training for our students with PDFs, and it would be great to have options as we implement different file types for our students. Not all will embrace the new file types.
Yes, one of the reasons that I love EPUB over PDF is that it's a non-proprietary format. So it's not owned by one particular company and managed by one particular company. So we do page tagging in all of our ebooks at Macmillan. So you can always navigate by page as long as the reader is displaying the page number. I'm going to default to Svea, who can probably give more detailed information about that than I can.
Well, you said it very well, Rachel. But Wiley has been including page numbers in the EPUB since we began working in EPUB 3, which was already several years ago. I would have to double check the exact date. As Rachel said, EPUB is not proprietary. Some of the systems that work with EPUB might be proprietary, but it is available on multiple platforms. There are some that do not require a dedicated reading system, so it's possible that we're thinking of things like dedicated apps that might read EPUB files, but there are some that are available on every single device that you can possibly think of, and many of those display the page numbers. New tools are being developed on a regular basis. I won't name names right now because I don't think it's appropriate to do that in a webinar, but I know of a company that's a very small company, a startup, that's creating a web-based EPUB system today that supports many of the functionalities that many of us have worked so hard to develop. Many of us think that PDF isn't proprietary because we're used to using PDF, but it is in fact owned by one company and supported by one company. And if you would like to help work on EPUB, it's open to anybody to work on, and you can talk to me about how to do that.
Okay, so we have a lot more questions. So what I will commit to is make sure that each of these questions gets to the publisher and or publishers, and that I will try and get you responses. And I will also post a lot of these on our FAQs, which are in development on the resource page. But we have reached 3 o'clock and I want to be respectful of everyone's time. Thank you so much, all 5 of you, for being here today. And thank you in advance for helping me get all of these questions answered afterwards. All right, everybody, thank you for attending. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.